My dear friends, to commemorate this day, October 24th, as World Polio Day, is in fact to remind us of the challenges we have faced. And why not for this year, we have more reasons to be happy. It was just on 26th August, we celebrated the whole of Africa being officially declared free of the wild polio virus. In this dark year, at the end of a stormy decade, in the middle of a destructive pandemic with no end in sight, this indeed was a ray of sunshine which we relished. When Rotary embarked on its journey to end polio 41 years ago in a muddy schoolyard in Manila in the Philippines, we did not know it would take this long to get the better of a disease for which we already had a safe and effective vaccine. But we did know that eradication meant more than just determination. We knew we couldn't attempt it alone. So we joined up with our formidable partners in the Global Polio Eradication Initiative, which consists of the UNICEF, the WHO, CDC, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and Gavi, and the Vaccine Alliance joining us later. We knew that eradication would require dedication. And so this Polio Day is really a tribute to the health workers, mainly women, who traveled by car, by rail, by boat, by foot, by any means to reach children across deserts and mountains, rivers, forests, villages, hamlets, in war and in strife, carrying the polio vaccines. This day is a tribute to those who found a way to reach these children and to the scientists who led surveillance activities and to the Rotary leadership, of course, across the regions who made this happen. This day, my friends, is a tribute to Rotary members who have contributed nearly $1 billion and countless volunteer hours to eliminate polio in all but 2 countries in the world. Yes, it's appropriate to celebrate this event, even though there is a raging pandemic, because the values which have taken us this far against polio, the values of protecting our fellow human beings, of equal opportunities for vaccination against disease and primary health care, of building an infrastructure against public health threats which cross borders. These are the values which will also define our success in the struggle against the coronavirus. Indeed, the infrastructure created by the polio program, from the vast surveillance and laboratory networks to the hundreds of thousands of local health workers, is already being used to counter COVID-19. The investment in the polio eradication effort is nothing less than an investment in a healthier world, a more compassionate world, and one that is better prepared for the future threats. But let's not forget that we still have Afghanistan and Pakistan to conquer. Earlier this year, President Holger, IPPC Chair Mike, and I went over to meet with the leadership in Pakistan. We met with the most important people there: Prime Minister Imran Khan, the Chief of Army General Bajwa, the Minister of Health, and several others. We were received well. We visited their National Emergency Operations Center, which houses the office of WHO, UNICEF, CDC, and Rotary. A giant touchscreen tells you vaccination coverage being done real time in any place in the country. Very, very impressive. It was ironical that both the army commander and the Prime Minister stated nearly the same words. We are ashamed that you are here to tell us what we should be doing ourselves for our children with our own hands. They said that, please leave it with us, for we will ensure that every child gets a vaccine, even if we have to do it with these hands. This time, we are confident that they will deliver. Of course, one of their main issues is the Taliban, which still exists on both sides of the border. They have a very porous border, and they are now in the process of building a 2,640-kilometer fence separating their countries. Someone asked me once, if you succeeded in negotiating with the Tamil Tigers in Sri Lanka, why can't you negotiate with Taliban in Pakistan? Because the Taliban are one of the largest obstacles to immunization efforts in that country. The Taliban are not educated. They are fragmented. They don't care if their children get crippled, and they don't care if their daughters and their wives can't read. Their atrocities know no bounds. These are the people who are driving around in motorcycles, shooting at the women who are trying to immunize babies. And yet, our Rotarians there, led by Trustee Aziz Memon, continue to battle on. Raising funds is another challenge we constantly face. We must have funds to finish the job. As you know, we have asked from clubs around the world to consider giving at least $1,500 per club, and from districts 20% of their DDF. But clearly, money from Rotarians alone, even with the Gates match, will not be sufficient. We need much more, much more. Sustaining the gains we have made and tackling the challenges in the two remaining polio endemic countries will require significant investment of time, money, and human resources. In November last year, together with Mike McGowan, Judith Dement, and Carol Pandak, we were at the Louvre, the famous art museum, not in Paris, rather in Abu Dhabi. That's right, there is a Louvre in Abu Dhabi which houses a collection from the original one. It's a stunning building, sitting right on the edge of the water on Saadiyat Island in the Arabian Gulf. I was representing Rotary at an event called the Last Mile Forum, hosted by His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi. The event was attended by the likes of Bill Gates, the Director General of WHO, the Ministers of Health of Pakistan and Afghanistan, and the other global leaders with whom we met personally. At the pledging moment, pledges came from every corner of the world, from the Crown Prince himself, the Gates Foundation, Germany, Nigeria, Pakistan, the UK, and of course, Rotary, all expressing sustained commitment to ensure that every last child is protected from paralysis from the polio virus. I was proud to stand on stage, shoulder to shoulder with some of the world's most prominent leaders, reconfirming the commitment of our Rotary members to the goal we set for ourselves so many years ago, our commitment to protect every child. When we were all done, the grand total pledge was US $2.6 billion to support polio eradication. We must continue to immunize our children against polio, because as long as the polio virus circulates anywhere, children are at risk everywhere. Analysis shows that if we stop our efforts now, up to 200,000 children would be paralyzed each year within the next 10 years. So we need to do this unfailingly, so that one day soon no child anywhere in the world will ever be paralyzed by polio again. You often heard our battle with polio being likened to a war. But not all wars are fought with guns. Some can only be fought with patience and with love. One human being to another. Each one is just one more battle to win on our way to winning the war. This war of ours, which started as a war against polio, but is now equally a war against hatred, against ignorance, against fear, this war will be won. It will be won soon. And when it is won, all Rotary will have a story to tell. The children and the grandchildren who will never see a leg brace or an iron lung or a world with polio in it. Whether you are a Rotarian from New York City or San Diego, whether you are a Rotarian from Seattle or Miami, whether you're a Rotarian from Detroit or Houston, you are part of this story and you are playing a leadership part. Your part in it is one that only you can write. So I ask you all to write it well, so that the story you will one day tell is one which will make you proud, which will make you proud, distinct by the fulfillment of our promise to protect every human being from a preventable disease.